self-care is important because how can I give the best of myself to somebody if I'm not at my best? And that's, that first responders, right? Sympathy, empathy, compassion. Like those are the three things that you should carry with yourself as a first responder.
What's up, Sussex? Welcome to another episode of I Am Sussex, Yo Soy Sussex. Today's guest, many people in the community know him. Lieutenant Joel Diaz from the Georgetown Police Department. First of all, even before you speak, thank you for serving. Thank you for your service.
Oh, much appreciated, man. This is fantastic. I'm definitely glad to be here. It's been a long time coming, I think.
Long time coming, man. So, Joel Diaz, why Sussex?
Oh man, that's why not is the answer. Why not Sussex? To me, this is a wonderful place to live in. I look at Sussex and Georgetown as the place that saved my life, for the lack of a better term. Kind of a misguided young man, 20 years old, 2 kids, wondering what to do with my life, and I ended up here from a previous relationship, and it's been a roller coaster, and it's been a fun ride so far. I love it.
You've been with the police department, Georgetown Police Department, how long?
20 years, September 22nd.
20 years.
Yeah.
Through Rehoboth. I know. How has that been?
It's been great. I think it was a fantastic challenge for me. I think that law enforcement is a rewarding career. It gives you the opportunity to obviously enforce the laws, all the basic stuff, but human interaction.
Wow.
And the ability to influence human behavior. But at the same time, my personality is the type of, I still want to have a good time. So I want to have fun. I can still wear the uniform. I can still be professional. I can still do my job, but I never want to take the human factor out of anything that I do. So I'm me. You see the uniform, but I want you to look through the uniform.
So talk to me. I had to write it down, man. Human interaction. What does that mean?
Man, it's a little bit of what we've lost over time, right? I think people see titles, uniforms, other factors that kind of keep us in par with some type of interaction. We forget that we're just human beings underneath.
That's right.
You have your realty company and everything, but when I see you or when we've run into each other at Starbucks, if you notice, the interaction is not, hey, sir, it's like big hug, big handshake, and that is how I interact with people. I want to exchange energy, and I guess that's the way I look at it. Human interaction is the exchange of positive energy. That's what I like. That's what I enjoy.
What has being an officer meant to you personally?
So a little bit of backstory on myself. I grew up in a household riddled with domestic violence, right? So as you're a young man and you realize that you're incapable of changing things or doing things because you're just a kid, when you get older, you find the job that is giving you the opportunity to make a difference in other people's lives. And that is rewarding for yourself, to maybe undo some of the things that you saw growing up and give people a little bit of hope that there is a job here that cares, and there is a job here that is willing to help, and you could be that first person, that glimmer of hope when you show up. And that person who is in a bad situation is looking at you, and you see the look in their eyes, and you're like, I'm here to help you no matter what it is. We're gonna get through this. These are your cases. We're just here to facilitate them.
Man, as I listen to you talk, all this going through my mind, that's a perfect definition of a first responder.
Yeah, man. I think a lot of people who do this job have it. I think that the job sometimes takes it away. This job can be draining physically, emotionally, psychologically. Self-care is important. I think that we're trying that with the department where we have a clinician program within the agency. We have a therapy dog now. Some people, it's odd for some people. But what I think is that self-care is important because how can I give the best of myself to somebody if I'm not at my best?
That's right.
And that's, that first responders, right? Sympathy, empathy, compassion. Like those are the three things that you should carry with yourself as a first responder.
That's what's up. Who are you?
Oh man, I am a young puertorriqueño, born in Puerto Rico, and I was raised in Chicago with, as crazy as it sounds, with no aspirations of anything. Misguided, man. I didn't know where I was going in life. I had kids at a young age. I'm a father. I'm a husband. I'm all those things, and then I throw a uniform on. But at the same time, or at the end of it all, I'm just human. I am just me. Like, when you meet me, what you see is what you get.
You know, as I listen to you talk, when you when you go back home to visit and you speak to people, to human beings that knew you, what comes out of that, right?
Confused.
When they see you now, when they see the human being that you have transformed into, that you have evolved into.
I get two things, right? Some people go, why are you a cop? Why are you a police officer? Why? Like, whoa. And then some people go, well, you know, you were kind of all over the place as a kid, right? So bouncing around. So this is the type of career where things are different every day. You know, one day doesn't look like the next. There's a lot of moving parts, and for me, that is who I am. I have to, you know, I'm a high growth needs person. I have to have a lot of things going on at one time. Ask my wife. There's everything going on, from a business to events. We're just planning our national night out. We just finished the open house. Like, there's always something going on. That's me.
That was successful too, right?
That was fantastic.
Heavily attended.
Yeah.
Community involvement. When you were on the streets, right, patrolling yourself, what was one thing that for you was really impactful? Like, when you saw the community looking at you, what impacted you the most?
I think the biggest impact in one way or the other was that they didn't feel represented or served. And it was interesting for me because for a lot of people, and this is a unique definition, because I've heard it from a lot of people, and I don't think they mean any malice by it, but they go, well, you don't look Hispanic, right? So I don't know what a Hispanic or a Latino looks like.
That's right. I get that all.
Right.
I've had it all my life.
I really don't know. If I showed you a family picture, we come of all shapes, sizes, colors, and human.
That's right.
At the end of it. So I think they were underserved, and some of the most impactful things were how gracious they were as soon as I start speaking Spanish. I mean, like, you can just see the look on their face. Oh, wait a second, you speak Spanish. And they would even say, I never thought you spoke Spanish. I know, I'm 6'4", blue eyes, very fair. I burn, I don't tan. But I think that it was like that glimmer of hope in their face that just fuels you. It's like, okay, we're going to do this. You know, our doors are open. Come here, I'm here. I give up my personal cell phone. I've been issued a departmental cell phone twice. Twice I throw it in a drawer, and I use my personal cell phone for all these years. They have my personal number. The community calls me for everything. I answer. To my own detriment sometimes, right? So it's like I'm always picking up my phone. What do you need? Oh, I just had a question for you about this ticket I got in another jurisdiction. And it's funny, but that's a 30-second conversation. But to that person, it's probably worth its weight in gold, because they didn't feel like things were attainable information, afraid to walk into the building, afraid to connect, afraid to have that interaction for whatever reason. You know, times are changing, times are evolving, and you can see that we've come a long way, and we still got a long way to go.
Yeah. And why is it so important to you and the department to do all these community events, right? I've seen you guys have done some things at the Georgetown Starbucks. You had the open house. Why?
Man, all these partnerships are definitely important for the growth of the community itself. This is our community, and I think that's the message. The message is the building is yours. The uniforms are yours. The cars are yours. They belong to the community, so they should have access to all that. They should have access to us. And I think is bridging that gap and ensuring and reminding people that we're accessible, and we haven't done a good enough job to meet the community halfway. And we're saying we're coming more than halfway. We just want you to show up. We're going more than halfway. We're going to try to go 90%. 10% is you just show up. So again, August 1st, we're doing our national night out at the Richard Allen School. I think that's a fantastic event to show up and meet all of our partners from the ambulance crew, from the paramedics, the Delaware State Police. You can see that we are a community of first responders. We're just inviting you into that group and know that you're an intricate part of the community. That's growth.
That is awesome, man. Question for you. What are you currently reading?
Well, let's look at this. I'm not currently reading a book. I am reading multiple police reports. And sometimes that is taxing enough that by the time I get home, I just want to hang out with my dogs.
Understood.
Yeah, a lot of police reports. I mean, we have to, as supervisors, we have to review any call of service. So anytime an officer goes somewhere, they have to draft a police report. These police reports are submitted for approval. We have to read them, every single one. That's a lot of reading. Wow.
In your 20 years, how has the evolution of your career evolved?
Yeah, it's been interesting moving forward. I mean, I came in as and my hat's off to the Rehoboth Beach Police Department. They gave a young man an opportunity to be a seasonal, like we see a lot of seasonal police officers. So that's where I started as a seasonal officer in Rehoboth. And that is a
I didn't know that,
fantastic breeding ground for officers.
Awesome.
So I came in as a patrol officer. Shortly after being on patrol, I was fortunate enough to get selected and put in investigations maybe a year out of the academy. So they put me as a detective a year out of the academy. I stayed in investigations until I was promoted as a supervisor, went to the road as a patrol supervisor, did my tenure there. Then I went back into investigations, did some time in investigations, then got promoted to sergeant as the investigation supervisor, evidence custodian, firearms instructor, member of the SWAT team or emergency response team at the time, community liaison, PIO, domestic violence instructor, sexual assault instructor. I've traveled the country teaching sexual assault and domestic violence classes to officers. I've taught at the academy. It has been a career that's been rewarding and one that I did not expect. I'm a young kid from the city of Chicago, and Puerto Rico. And listen, man, I've got a high school diploma. I've gone this entire way on a high school diploma and drive. That's it.
That's what's up, brother.
And I wish I tell my kids now I probably should go back to school, and I will. But having two kids at a young age makes you grow up really fast.
As you talk, man, all I can think about is also I just want to pay homage to your phenomenal spouse. They call her Ro, but Ramonita, right? For just supporting your dreams, because I know that it takes a lot where you are a person that the community is always calling you and pulling at you, and then coming home with that weight as well. The household has to be strong and supportive of that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess behind every successful man is the strongest woman.
That's
and
right.
And my hat's off to the mothers and the single mothers and the spouses everywhere, because we are not easy.
Nah.
Cops, we're not easy. Boys, men, we're not easy. My mother raised 3 boys by herself. It was tough, right? And my wife has put up with, like you said, long nights. I've gone up from anniversary dinners because the phone rings and I run out the door. I've left her at restaurants. But she's in the in public service as well. So I think she understands. She understands what it means to me. She understands what our dedication and our sacrifices have meant to our family. We're a blended family. Her and I never had kids together, but we have 3 kids. And she took my 2 on like they were her own, and I adopted her son at the age of 8, and that's my boy. I mean, he's more like me than anybody.
That's what's up.
Which is crazy. That is, when we go back to human interaction and energy,
That's
it's
right.
amazing how
right.
somebody who is not blood can take to you, and your mannerisms and the way you talk and your sense of humor.
That's right.
That's respect.
Respect. That's what's up. What is a quote that you live by?
Oh man, there's so many. I tell my crew, make a decision, stick with it. Make a decision and stick with it. I was indecisive growing up. You know, I was impulsive, but I was a bit indecisive, and I had a supervisor tell me, make a decision and stick with it. If you make the decision and you stick with it and it's wrong, we can fix it. What we can't fix is your inability to make a decision.
Damn. Say that one more time, brother. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, it sticks with you. I tell my crew that. Make a decision and stick with it. If you make a decision and it's wrong, we can fix it. What we can't fix is your inability to make a decision. Can't fix it. I can't teach you that. I can teach you a lot of things. But decisiveness. Look at the path. Make one. Choose one. Yeah.
Whew. Huh?
It's good stuff, man.
Is there a question you wish I would have asked?
No, man. I appreciate the opportunity to come in here. You know, sometimes I catch myself talking about my mother a lot. Mm-hmm. That's my hero. That is the person that I owe everything to. I hope she's proud. You know, she was 39 years old when she died, and the only thing that I can say is that her struggles didn't go unnoticed. My brothers and I, man, we just live our life to honor her. 39 years old and everything she went through. We should never complain about life. You're dying of HIV/AIDS. You're being beaten by your spouse, and you're still raising 3 boys. What do I have to complain about?
That's right.
I have a good life.
That's right.
You know, and I'm appreciative to her, and I thank her for that.
That's right.
Yeah.
Last question, and I already know the answer to this, but I have to ask, man. For years, we said it's been a long time coming. For years, we were running to each other consistently. Starbucks, I think, was the main catalyst. That's right, coffee in the mornings, early mornings. Why do you smile?
It's free. I can share my smile with you for free and expect nothing in return. And it's contagious. To me, energy is contagious. Positive energy is contagious. You give off a vibe, man. I mean, everybody that knows you knows your vibe. Right. You give off a vibe. That is contagious, right? So is negativity.
That's right.
So if I smile and I'm positive, I'm hoping that if that person is having a bad day for that very brief moment, then they get to feel a little bit of positive energy. You never know what people are carrying with them. So even if you're carrying a negative day, don't project it on other people. Project your positivity on other people. And that's one person at a time, man. There's a lot of contentious stuff happening nowadays, and it's broadcasted, and the accessibility of information. Everything is so negative. Why not smile? Why not shake a hand? Why not wish somebody a good day? And again, hats off to those folks at Starbucks, man. When you walk in, they call you by your name.
Call you by your name. That's right.
Something simple as that. So how simple is a smile?
That's right.
What happens with a kid when you smile, right? They're standoffish at first. They're kind of giving you the look, but you smile and they smile. It's contagious, man. That's right. It is contagious. It's like yawn. If I yawn right now, you're going to start yawning. But if I smile, you can't help but smile. That's why I smile all the time.
Boom. You know, it's just a universal language, man.
Man.
You know, we don't have to speak the same language, but if I smile, you know what's going on.
And it puts that person at ease.
That's right.
Right? It's like the icebreaker.
That's
if
right.
you look the other way, which is the other thing people do, sometimes if they don't want that interaction, what do? You just kind of look the other way. The other person reads that. Body language. Man, so yeah, smiling is universal, and it's free. I tell people all that. It is free.
You know, I've been asking people that question for years, and I remember when someone asked me, I was joking, but I meant this. I said it's the intergalactic expression of I come in peace.
Yeah.
You know, hey, I don't mean no harm. I'm just, what's up? You know.
The handshake, right? Where does the handshake come from? The handshake comes from showing the other person that you weren't armed.
That's right.
So that's where the handshake comes from. So, yeah, smile. Shake hands. I think that we have to have a sense of community a lot more than we have. We're all busy. You're not too busy to smile and wish somebody a good day.
That's right. You know, I also want to give a big shout out to Laura, manager over there at the Starbucks, man. She's been integral in allowing, making that space, Georgetown, the Starbucks in Georgetown, making that space somewhat of a communal space where people can come hang out, have a cup of Joe, and I will meet there, man, every Thursday with a group of guys right before, before the pandemic, and just consistently build community, man.
Yeah, I mean, she changed. And Adam, who's there now, the manager now, I feel like our Starbucks. And I guess, I'm not trying to promote a business. I'm promoting the people there.
That's right, communal, yes.
They have really changed the perception of people or law enforcement officers of Starbucks as a company, right? Yeah. So it's not a secret that in the news years ago, it's like, oh, well, Starbucks doesn't like law enforcement. They don't want them in there. Blah, 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 all this stuff that happened, like Midwest and all that. And I think that they influence human behavior just by being human, right? They treat us a certain way, and officers started going in there, and now you hear officers go, man, they're not too bad. Yeah. I was like, none of that's personal. I was like, you guys got to stop grouping everything together. Yeah. And I asked that of officers, and I asked that of the community. You never know what an officer's carrying and why their demeanor is a certain way. And I tell my officers, you never know what that person's carrying. That's right. So just because they're upset or they're angry or whatever, you don't know where they're coming from. You don't know where they're headed. Maybe their loved one's in the hospital on their deathbed and you just pulled them over. So take a step back. Conversely, maybe an officer's coming from the scene of a dead baby and they're on edge. Doesn't excuse their behavior, but I think we have to take a step back and kind of just take things as they come. Don't be so judgmental in a sense at times, because we're all human, man. I mean, we can be held to a higher standard, and I expect that. I expect that of our officers, but at the end of the day, we're human beings. Like, I don't have a different brain than somebody else. The trauma, trauma's real. Yes. Trauma's real for people. Trauma's real for first responders. Trauma is real for my hats off to the people in the emergency rooms. They're taking all the negative stuff that comes in, and they have to deliver negative news sometimes. Sometimes it's positive news, but we as a community endure a lot of trauma, and trauma is real, and that is in every aspect. So yes, hold people to higher standards, but don't forget that we're all human. That's the public's human, and officers are human. You're a human being. You can be having a bad day. You can be going through a lot of things. You always smile, but what is underneath? That's right. So if you lose your cool one time, if it's not what people are used to, they shouldn't go, man, that guy is in a bad mood today. What they should go is, man, hey, man, you okay? It's amazing how those words will open up a conversation. Are you okay? That's right. We don't ask that enough of people anymore, and we should.
Thank you. Completely agree. Gracias, everybody.
Un placer. Thanks for having me.
Until next time, peace. Thanks for watching Yo Soy Sussex. And for more episodes, go to IamSussex.com.